Yo guys, welcome back to another track guide. My name is Rob, aka Rob on Top, and for this track guide we're back on Bahrain for a slow lap and a hot lap to understand the circuit and to get a little bit of tips and tricks on how you should tackle this circuit. But before we go to the hot lap and the slow lap, we're going to the track map of Bahrain, and here we have the track map. Sakia, Bahrain, a 5.4 kilometer distance of a track. The three sectors there: the top speed, average speed with DRS zones, 3 DRS zones in total, 15 corners, 16.9 meters of elevation. And now onto the exit zones. Turn 1, Vettel and Ocon in 2021. Vettel braking behind Ocon, and then tabbing his rear. Onto turn 4, 2021, Verstappen versus Hamilton. Verstappen going around the outside, eventually having to give the place back to Hamilton because he took over outside of the track. Turn 8 in 2020, Stroll versus Kvyat. Kvyat in AlphaTauri, Stroll in the Racing Point, tabbing each other, and Stroll making a barrel roll onto the track and having to retire from the race. This was the track map, and then let's go to the laps. Then we're going to the start-finish straight. I will get a little bit of throttle in on the straights to shorten the lap a little bit. But over here we're going to turn 1. And turn 1 is a pretty hectic corner, so be sure to brake on the exact correct spot. Onto second in this turn and try to go as close to the curb as you can. You don't want to hit the curb, but you want to go as close to the curb as you can. Make sure you sacrifice your exit of turn 1 to go for a better exit onto turn 2. Try to cut the curb on the inside as much as possible. Then onto the second DRS straight onto turn 4. Onto turn 4 you want to brake down to third gear. You want to do the same as turn 1. You want to stay as close to the curb. You don't want to hit the curb. You want to stay as close to the curb as you can. Then onto the exit of turn 4. Try to get as close to the other curb as you can. Then over here, ending of sector 1, turn 5. You can hit the curb, but watch out with your throttle input if you hit the curb. The same for turn 6. And then going to turn 7. Or turn 8 it is actually, excuse me. Then you want to go to second gear into the corner, same as turn 1 and 4. Don't hit the curb on the inside. Over here, turn 9, 10, you can easily lock up here, so be aware that you brake a little bit softer than you normally would do. Try to go to third gear or second and then make the turn. You can cut the curb on the inside a little bit. Over here we have another DRS straight onto turn 11. For turn 11 you want to go over the curbs on the outside a little bit. Go to fourth gear. Try to hit the curb on the inside. And then make sure you have a good exit onto turn 11 going for turn 12. I normally cut here the curb a little bit to shorten my line through the exit of turn 11. It's completely up to you what you want to use, but I personally find that the faster line. Then over here onto turn 13 you want to brake the third gear, clip the curb a little bit, then onto the outside of the corner try to take as much curb as you can. Then over here we're going to turns 14 and 15, the last corners of the track. Brake down to third, then don't hit the curb but go as close to the curb as you can. Then over here we're going full throttle for a hot lap onto the circuit. And here we go. Going again to turn 1, try to brake here. Then to second gear, as close to the curb as you can. Sacrifice your exit, cut the curb as much as possible. Going to the second DRS, activate it right here. Going to turn 4. Want to brake here to third gear. Try to get as close to the curb. Watch for your exit. Then onto the end of sector 1. Turn 6. Watch out. I don't hit the curb, so watch out with your throttle input if you hit the curbs. Then onto here, turn 8. Second gear. Don't hit the curb, but go as close to it as you can. Watch out for your throttle input here because you will spin out of turn 8. Then brake here for a straight line for turn 9, 10. Onto third gear. Going to turn 11, second DRS straight of the lap. Then over here, brake down to fourth. Try to clip the curb as much as possible. Watch your exit onto the outside. Watch out for track limits. Don't hit the inside curb here on turn 12. to turn 13, brake to the third, clip the curb a little bit, go to fourth in the middle of the corner, then straight to the last turns of the track to turns 14, 15. Want to brake down to third here, then go as close to the curb as you can, watch for your exit, watch out for track limits on the outside, going to the end of the lap, DRS activated, the last DRS of the track. And then this was the hot lap. Right now we're going onto the setup. So I will show you guys the setup that I used for today's hot lap. Oh, right, here we have it. Aerodynamics 8-9 wings. I find it very handy to have a little bit of understeery setup. You can always choose to go to 9-9 wings or to 9-8 or whatever. But I personally think it's better to go to 9-8. Here I show you guys the possible options, but I personally think 8-9 is a better option for the wings. Going to the transmission, 85 to 58. I think it's a pretty okay setup to use compared to the differential. You can play with the differential off throttle, but I personally think that this is the best way to go. Going to the suspension geometry, you see here minus 250, minus 190, 007 and 020. I think that's for me as a driver the best way to tackle the geometry. You can always play with the toes and with the cambers, but yeah, personally on Bahrain I think it's better to keep this setup, for me at least. Then onto the suspension, 171727. Most of the same bits on the rear, but you can always play with the suspension, try to soften it a little bit if you suffer from oversteer, or try to stiffer it a little bit if you suffer from understeer. And you can also get the ride height a little bit higher to make sure you get a good traction, but that's all for you to decide which one you want to use. Then over here the brakes, 150, same as usual, suspects. And then onto the tires, 23.8 on the front and 23.5 in the back. And I personally use this one because I want a little bit of the extra tires. You can also play with the front tires that go a little bit higher onto the PSI. But I personally think that this PSI onto the front is good enough to get a little bit of a balanced tire degradation. So this was my setup, guys. I hope you enjoyed the track guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back next week with another track guide, so be sure to check that one out. Also watch the races, the league races onto the Koelission stream, onto Koelission Twitch channel, because they're going to be wild, so be sure to check that one out. Also check out the other socials of Koelission, and then the only thing I can say to you is I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys onto a stream or onto the next track guide. And see you all later. Bye bye.